My name is Gary Meikle and I'm a product of the childcare system. That was my bedroom right there. Growing up, I spent a few years in my teenage years in a few different children's homes, but it was in here that I spent 2 years from the ages of 14 until I was 16. It was called CELCIS Children's Home, and it holds a lot of memories, mostly good, I must admit. 27 years ago, when I was in a children's home, I think there was a lot of stigma attached to being in a children's home. I think that everybody on the outside world looked at us as being like dregs of society, that we weren't to be trusted, we were to be avoided at all costs, which kind of led to bullying in a lot of instances. But every single kid that was in there for a different reason, mostly through no fault of their own. But my own personal experience, the reason why I ended up in a children's home was because as a child we moved around a lot. So whenever I went anywhere, I was always the new kid. I was always seen as like an outsider, which made it really hard for me to fit in, and ultimately led to me being bullied massively. This is something that I never spoke about. I never told my mum, I never told my dad. I just kept this kind of inside because, well, to be honest, I felt embarrassed about it. And then what happened was I would just go from school to school, getting expelled from each one of them. So I ended up, because of the bullying, just truanting from school non-stop, just going from school to school, getting expelled from each one, becoming unruly, and that led to the relationship with me and my mum just completely breaking down. And I don't think we can lay fault at anyone's door for this. This was just something that happened. And but ultimately, every single child, every single kid that is in a children's home is in there for a different reason. I did share a house with 40 or 50 other kids. About a third of them were girls, and unfortunately every single one of the girls was in for the exact same reason, and that was because they suffered abuse at the hands of a male member of their family, and I don't think I need to expand on that anymore. But out with that, every single kid's experience was just totally different. But the one thing that we did all share in common is that we were all now in this together. We were all outsiders together. And I've got amazing memories of being in the children's home. Like I used to butter up the chef, no pun intended. And I used to butter up the chef, so she would give me like extra biscuits, and she would let me dip into the cold meat in between meals. I guess I was a bit of a charmer back then. And most of the staff were great as well. I'd like to think that they were all there for the right reasons. Although there was one member of staff, I don't remember his name. He used to tell me on quite a constant basis that I would either be dead or in jail by the time I was 30. And that's what a moron he was. Because obviously at that age you're really young and impressionable. And it did stick with me for a while. I didn't let it fester, but it was something that obviously has stuck out, and I do recall him saying. The really unfortunate thing about back then is there wasn't much of a support network, and tons of my friends that I shared the children's home with are now dead. They've either been murdered, drugs overdose, some of them are in prison serving long-term prison sentences. But again, there wasn't much of a support network back then. I was kicked out the day after my 16th birthday. I do know that now there is a support network, a Throughcare help project. I think it takes them up until they're 23, which is brilliant. So if you are a kid in care, make sure you use that service, because it's actually being in the children's home that is the easy part. It's what comes after it that's tough. So the more support that you can get, the better, without a shadow of a doubt. am quite lucky in the fact that I was able to rebuild the relationship with my mum. It didn't happen overnight, it took many years, but we've sat down several times, we've spoken about it, we've had a cry, we've had discussions, but it is now firmly behind us. The fact it never even comes up anymore, and I certainly don't think about it, and I don't think that my mum does either. In fact, we're more best pals now than anything else. I speak to my mum every other day, and I'm just so glad and grateful that I had the opportunity to rebuild that relationship with my mum. Now, I'm not naive enough to think that that can be the case for everybody that's in a children's home, but if there is any possibility of reconciliation with your mum, your dad, or however it may be, then just take that opportunity, because you certainly don't ever want to look back with regret, and at least not tried to make a go of that relationship. Okay, so the reason I wanted to do this video, well, there's actually two. The first reason is just to say to anybody that ever has any dealings or experiences with anyone that's in a care home or has been, it's just to be a little bit more patient with them, give them a little bit more time, a little bit more understanding. I'm not saying to let them away with murder, but just think that what they've been through in some cases is unimaginable. You can't comprehend, you just don't know ultimately what these kids have been through. Every one of them, like I said, has been through something different, and they deserve just a little bit more patience, time and understanding. But the main reason for doing this video is to give a message to the kids that are in the children's home direct, whether you're in the children's home just now or you've left one recently or even 10, 20 years ago. I guess it doesn't matter, and that's that you need to believe in yourself. It's so massively important. You need to believe that, well, first of all, understand and know that what you've been through is more than most people have done, and you're stronger than you think, you're tougher than you think. But I always remember back when I was in care, I always had this underlying belief. I always knew in the back of my mind that I was going to be okay. I don't know where it came from, but it was always there. I always knew there was like a voice in the back of my head telling me, you're going to be okay, Gary. It doesn't matter what comes your way, you will handle it. And I guess when you think about it, if I was to analyse it properly, it kind of is like self-help in a way. And I know that sounds cheesy because I can hear myself saying it just now in my head, but it's massively true. Knowing that I had that voice in the back of my head telling me that I was going to be okay. I didn't know how I would be okay, I just always knew and had that underlying belief. So it's so important that you have that. If I could go back and give myself any piece of advice, it would probably be to just find something that I'm passionate about, focus on that, and just go for that 100%. And it doesn't matter if you change your mind, because you're young, you will change your mind, but just focus all your energy and time and your passion on something that you really enjoy doing. If people do doubt you, just use that as fuel to spur you on, because ultimately at the end of the day you have been through more than most kids that your age, and that, whether you believe it or not, actually makes you mentally stronger than most people. And by the way, it took me a long time before in my mind I became a success. And when I say a success, I don't mean anything to do with my now comedy career. I don't mean success as in getting material things. What I mean by that is just becoming alright up here. I don't hold any guilt anymore. I don't hold on to any shame. So my conscience is clear about everything that I've been through and everything that I've done. It wasn't until I was about 25 or 30 before, in my mind, that I properly started to succeed, because that's when that voice that was in my head as a child telling me that I was going to be okay started to become more prominent and louder. And that's when I kind of started to sort my life out. But hopefully it doesn't take you that long. I think ultimately the message that I'm trying to give is that you can make the best out of a bad situation. You can turn things around. Don't let yourself become a statistic. So you can succeed and become what is deemed as a normal functioning member of society. And just don't be afraid to ask for help and support. If you're a young adult and you've been put in care because you've done some bad things, it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. You've probably just been a victim of your circumstances and ultimately a product of your own environment, but that doesn't mean that you can't change and turn it all around. If I can do it, then anyone can. Hopefully you've got a strong support network round about you, but if you don't, there is organisations out there, both internationally and nationally, that will be able to help you. If you are watching this, then that means you're on the internet, so just Google it and keep smiling and believe in yourself.